Hi, I'm Hudson. I'm a game designer and I occasionally make videos. I wanted to talk about Path of Exile 2. I've been looking forward to Path of Exile 2 for a very long time, and I like what Grinding Gear is doing with the game, and I believe most of their decisions are good decisions. However, the game does have some problems in its current state, and I wanted to talk about that and state my opinion on the game as it presently is. The game's performance isn't great. It ranges from decent to terrible, regardless of graphical settings. And poor performance is completely unacceptable in our modern time when technology is as advanced as it is. In fact, my usual experience is a frame rate that is so low that it makes me physically sick. However, I recognize that the game is still in early access, and I expect that performance will continue to improve throughout development. I like the aesthetic of the game and the quality of its artwork. Everything shares the same flavor and it feels like it all fits together. I particularly like that each class has its own culture and personality. It gives them more depth and flavor and provides a different experience when playing each class. I also like that every class has its own dialogue, and that isn't just for your player character, it's for other characters in the game as well. So if you play through the game as one class and then play through the game again as a different class, you'll get a little bit of a different experience and you might even get a little more information, a little more lore. An example of this is when you talk to Renly in the Clearfell encampment, he'll ask you if you've seen his son, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but his son is the warrior. And so canonically, if you play as any other class other than the warrior, he gets hanged at the beginning of the game. So Renly's son dies and he doesn't know. But you as the player now have that information, you have that context because you played as that character or because you didn't play as a particular character. So things like that happen throughout the game, and that's really cool. I really like that a lot. The game needs an option to skip the campaign if you've already completed it. It's exhausting to play through the entire campaign just to reach the endgame. And you have to do it twice because you have to complete Cruelty difficulty too. I don't understand why this wasn't an option from the beginning. I understand that the developers put a lot of time and effort into the campaign, and I also understand that the experience slightly changes depending on what class you're playing as, but that is insignificant compared to how mind-numbingly boring it is to play through the same campaign from start to finish repeatedly. It's completely unrealistic to expect the player to do this every time they want to try a new build. I'm always disappointed when I'm approaching an act boss. They have too many mechanics, they take too long to fight, and it feels completely random whether or not I'll actually dodge an attack. Some of the attacks are complete bullshit, like this attack when fighting Jamin Ra, or this phase when fighting Count Geonor, and almost every part of the Act 3 boss, whatever the hell his name is. Act bosses are like a sudden wall. You'll be cruising through the campaign and enjoying yourself, but once you reach an act boss, you have to stop everything. You can't make any progress until you defeat them, and depending on your build, it could take you literally hours to do so. I'll give you a great example. I normally don't play spellcasters, I just don't enjoy them, but I decided to try the sorceress, and I made a lightning build that I was enjoying. But then I reached Jamin Ra, who is resistant to lightning, so this boss that is already difficult and already a waste of time became an enormous waste of time. I really like the skill gem system. It reminds me of the skill system in the original Guild Wars. I like having the freedom to choose whatever skills I want, and I like being able to choose individual support gems. It reminds me of the enhancement system in City of Heroes. I also like the flavor of each set of skills being associated with specific attributes. However, I find it very restrictive. It's difficult to make an interesting build that doesn't involve one specific set of skills. For example, if you've chosen to use cold skills, it isn't easy to combine cold skills from the sorceress with cold skills from the monk. That's compounded by the fact that there are very few skills associated with each type. For example, I wanted to play as a bone mage witch, and there were only 3, maybe 4 bone skills in the entirety of the game, so I didn't have very many options. So let's talk about Ascension Trials. I hate Ascension Trials, and I don't understand why they exist. They're a tremendous waste of time, they take too long to complete, and they're not fun in any way. They're repetitive and boring, and whether or not you succeed is completely random. And if you fail, you'll receive absolutely nothing. And on top of that, you'll need to farm for a specific item that will allow you to attempt the trial again. And as you progress further, Ascension trials become even longer, which is insane. They're a complete waste of time, and I never want to even attempt them, let alone complete them. And if the player is not compelled to complete content, then why is it even in the game at all? I would completely scrap Ascension Trials if it were my decision. And while I'm complaining about weird mechanics, here's a great example of a weird mechanic that just feels bad. If you have a ring, and it's like a level 5 ring, and it's pretty good, you want to use that ring. If you upgrade that ring, there is a very big chance that it will become like a level 45 ring and you won't be able to use it. So now you can't use this ring. Now the ring is complete garbage, but you wanted to use it. You just wanted to upgrade it. I don't understand why upgrading an item like that would cause something like that to happen. I don't know if it's a bug. I don't know if it's intended, but it feels terrible. So an ongoing problem with this game has been swarming. It takes too long to do anything in the game, and by that I mean perform actions. It isn't that the game takes too long to complete, it's that I don't have enough time to use enough skills to successfully achieve a combo. Monsters reach the player character too quickly, too often, and this problem has been partially mitigated by the recent changes, and the game feels a lot better, but this problem is still prevalent. It's a combination of a few things. The player's movement speed is reduced while they're performing most skills. Skills themselves take too long to activate. Spells take too long to cast. And monsters are a little too fast or aggressive most of the time. All of these things, small as they are on their own, combine together to make the game feel sticky rather than weighty. I often feel like I'm rolling around in syrup. Overall, I'm really enjoying the game, and I'm looking forward to seeing what new content they're going to release. I want to see what they're cooking with this. I just feel like there's a lot of little things that don't make sense. The developers say they want one thing for the game, and then they do something completely different. The two things seem to be at odds, and it's very strange. I understand what they want is a game that maybe has a slower pace than other ARPGs, but at the same time, that's not the kind of game that they're making. They're not making a game that's slow paced, but they're incorporating these mechanics that slow things down, but it doesn't feel good. It feels sticky, and it feels weighty in a way that's not pleasant. It doesn't always feel good. Overall, though, it's a great experience. I'm really enjoying it. I just feel like a lot of the mechanics are repetitive. There's a lot of things that are frustrating, like Ascension Trials. I really don't like Ascension Trials. I really wish those didn't exist. But in general, it's great. In general, it's a very good experience. It's been a positive experience. Anyway, that's all for this video. I appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I would appreciate it if you would like it, subscribe, do whatever the usual things. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.